Hi, and welcome to another episode of Nursing Your Way to Wealth, where a mental health nurse and an accountant talk about wealth creation, personal development, and financial independence in the UK to help you live the life you deserve. Hello, and welcome back to Nursing Your Way to Wealth. Both Alexes here again. My apologies to Nurse Alex, apologies for the 22-day delay. It's entirely my fault. I was at the business end of a level 7 master's to get my prescribing qualification, and it was a lot. I was doing extra kind of work, weekends, evenings, slight bit of panic here and there to get all of my kind of academic stuff done and submitted. So that's the reason why we've not been around for a little bit. But we are back. This is episode 89, which is a bit mad when you think about it. We're getting very close to 100 episodes, and the three-figure numbers will start to look nice. Today, we're just going to talk about a bit of a kind of a catch up around last year, a bit about the new tax year, which is why we've called the episode what we have. Alex is going to talk about something called BED and ISA, which I've heard of, but I couldn't explain it to someone. So I'm going to learn something from that as well. We've also got some interesting stuff around a pension transfer I've recently done and a good, reasonable, or ridiculous. But Alex, welcome back. Sorry for the delay, but how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. And yeah, how are you after all of your qualifications and all that stress, I imagine? Yeah.
Stress. Like doing a master's in 6 months is no joke. And in September, when I mentioned it to you, I was like, yeah, I got loads of time for that. No problem, I can do that. And then as the months disappear, you're like, oh dear, I've got a lot to do now. And when I got to like March and I had a month until the deadline, I was like, okay, you've got a lot of notes in a notebook, but you haven't put them anywhere.
Mm,
And all of the submission is online. So I was doing evenings till kind of 10, 11 p.m., Sundays devoted to it. It's a lot of things. I wrote probably a reflective piece for 75 clinical competencies. And then that's just like one part of like a 6 part thing. It's a lot,
mm. Oh wow, yeah, it sounds it.
but I'm glad it's over. I'm so glad it's over.
And this is the thing that will then help you get the qualification that you need to then get the higher salary as well, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. So if everything goes well, I should change to my nursing PIN number. Should happen probably June. I hope maybe July if they're a bit slow with it, and it will net me immediately as soon as that kind of box is ticked. It'll net me a 5 grand pay rise. So hopefully that will make up for the
Nice.
the Sundays.
Yeah, that's it. That's the thing, isn't it? So sometimes it's worth going through some of the stress, knowing that it's going to be a nice tidy sum at the end of it.
Yeah, and it's not just 1 year, is it? Every year I work in that
Exactly.
job,
Yeah, yeah,
it's an extra 5k per year. So if I work another 5 years, it's 25 extra. Um,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it kind of compounds in the right direction for me as well. It makes me more employable. I work in a pool of less people, so that's
Mm.
useful as well.
Yeah, definitely. Oh well, fingers crossed, everything crossed
Yeah,
for
that's
that.
it. That's it. I think I'm in good shape. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this episode around the new tax year. So I think because previously we were coming up to the end of the tax year and we were kind of there was the furore around the Iran war and we saw stock markets plummeting. Been probably about what 5, 6 weeks since then. You can see in the markets that I think we're learning that the two sides want to take, they're trying to negotiate, come to a deal. And I think as a result of that, you're seeing some of the volatility subside and that the markets are recovering from where they went down, which is positive. So I think people are seeing, hopefully nobody sold out and has got the money in a savings account. I'm sure our listeners don't do that, but I think it's just that thing of holding on, being disciplined, taking the long-term view. And I'm sure there will still be loads more volatility around it. And I think inflation will be higher for longer and rates will be higher for longer, which will have a meaningful impact on people. But I think hopefully if people are looking at their investment accounts, they're starting to come back from where it was. Um, so that's a positive from the last few weeks.
Yeah, I think just things will be back in the green rather than red. I mean, we always talk about a buy and hold strategy long term, like
Hmm.
time in the market will outweigh kind of timing
Yeah,
it. If you asked me to try and time that, I would have been A, too late to sell, and then B, way too late to buy back in. Um, and I was looking at my portfolio earlier today because I just had a pension transfer lately, which I'll mention in a bit. But I was looking at it in terms of the drop and then the subsequent rebound. That is it, those differences. They're priced into the market so quickly, and it takes people by surprise. Which
yeah,
actually you can never be ahead of those things. It's virtually impossible to do. Um, well, in a legal way, I suppose. So I just think I hope no one's kind of sold out for particular reasons and then are holding it in cash and are now regretting it. But we're slowly like people of our generation, like we went through like the financial thing in 2008, the housing crash, and then COVID, and now this, and it seems like turbulence in the markets is it's becoming perhaps more frequent. So it's something that we should expect, not to take us by surprise. So again, we're back to good fundamentals, solid emergency fund, so you don't then need to take money out of the market whilst it's decreased in value.
absolutely. Those principles do seem to hold quite true. Because yeah, so it's never nice to look at it when your money's going down, but you don't need that money if you've built up that emergency fund. Even if you so hopefully you're spending below your means anyway. If then there is an emergency, you need to dip into money. You've then got cash on hand, and then your investments are for you for future you. So yeah, definitely the right thing to be doing. And but yeah, one thing I was going to say that just because we're like now into the new tax year, I know something that I tend to do every tax year is use it as a bit of a milestone and a goalpost to kind of review kind of just my general finances. So I'll kind of review if I've got like duplicate accounts anywhere, or if I want to move savings accounts, or if there's any shares I've got in my kind of satellite portfolio that I'm looking at trimming or selling or increasing. Take stock of how I did in the last year, what I want to do in the following year. So I kind of use and then obviously try and make use of most of the tax-free allowances. Um, and I've got a couple of examples of things which I've done at this time. But yeah, Alex, you said it seems like sounds like you've done something similar and combined one of your old pensions.
Yeah, so I did. I was kind of prompted into doing that because I was looking at kind of being April 6th, the end of the tax year. What do I want to do for the new tax year? And this old pension I've had from a job I had in like 2014, 15 time, before I did any kind of nursing qualification. It's been sitting with Nest. I haven't contributed for a long time, and I've tried two times previously to transfer it to my Vanguard SIP. Two times it's failed. And like Vanguard have just told me that Nest have just not said no, but they just can't move it forward for unknown reasons, and they won't tell Vanguard why. So I had another go, and this time it worked without issue. I just initiate the transfer, and it was done within I think about 8 days or so, which is remarkably fast. Um, the only reason I was doing that is because I like everything in one pot. If things are just in one place, I find it easier to manage. Constantly forgetting my Nest logins, I have to reset my password every time I want to attempt that. And also, I noticed this a bit silly of me, but I noticed that they were charging me 0.3% as an annual management charge of the money I had in there. And I don't have loads of money in it. I think I transferred 5,300 or something like that. But at the same time, I still don't want to lose 0.3% of that for effectively nothing for them looking after it when I can move it into my SIP and pay a lot less than that.
Yeah, I think that's really sensible. And I'm similar with my old pension. So also have a Vanguard SIP, and because I've had quite a few employers, I tended to roll them over into the current employer scheme. But before I joined my new company that I'm with, or my current company, I've moved everything into like a Vanguard SIP, and then I also then have my kind of employer pension scheme along the side of it. But I quite like having it for the same kind of reasons, just simplification, and I like the control over it as well.
Yeah, it's one less login to remember. And
Yeah,
I do exactly the same. I've got one long-term SIP for me, and I have whatever company I work for, I have their pension scheme running alongside it. And whenever I move jobs or anything like that, I just transfer that one in. For some reason, this Nest one was just really sticky, and it took me three goes um,
yeah,
to do it. And I don't think I did anything different this year. I just ticked all the boxes, and for some reason, it worked. It worked really quickly, and now it's all in one place. So I'm happy with that, and I can again forget my Nest pension login details, and now never have to remember them or do like the reset your account thing.
yeah. That's yeah, good win. Um,
I'm very happy with that. The other thing I did just around the new tax year is I've just slightly increased my contribution to my stocks and shares ISA. Um, with my job move, I got a slight pay bump, and I will again once this prescribing course is done. And I've just added a little bit of that. I think I added about 25% of my pay bump to like in as an extra contribution. And I'll do something similar when I get the next pay bump, thinking that actually the more I can put in, the richer I'll be in the long term, and I'm not going to miss it at that point. And as a last thing around that, I managed to invest £8,000 in my ISA in the last tax year from 20, is it 25 to 26?
yes, yeah,
Yeah. So I know back in a previous episode, Alex, I talked about I wanted to invest 10 total, so like fill half of the ISA allowance. Didn't quite make it, but I got 80% of the way there, which I'm not unhappy with.
yeah. And I think that's a huge achievement. That's still such a lot of money. Um, and I think yeah, you've done the right thing on saving some of your increase on your pay increase because you've almost got your life designed around the small income anyway. So any increase, you kind of can that you can live without, and then you're sacrificing some of that into your ISA, which is really good. So I think that's yeah.
Yeah, and I still get to use, well, 75% of it for stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. No, yeah, that's it. And I think sometimes I'm definitely guilty of it being a bit too miserly with my kind of pay rises and stuff, and always prioritizing the investments. Whereas I think certainly want to look at yeah, being a bit more mindful with that, and not being. I think I can afford now to start spending a little bit more on myself and me and my wife.
Yeah, definitely. And if you ever need like someone to give you permission for it, just send me a text and I'll be like, I give you permission to buy this thing or whatever it may be.
That's it.
Um, yeah, but
Yeah,
if you come to me and you're like, well, I want to buy like I don't know a £25,000 digital camera, I'll be like, do you really need it? Maybe you do, maybe
maybe
you
not.
don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, propose, like do some kind of
yeah,
proposal. But I think like it's worth spending obviously some of the money to live and make your life better. Like you work really hard, I work really hard, everyone works really hard. So
yeah.
do yeah, don't be so miserly that actually you get to like 40, 50, 60 years old and you're like, oh, I wish I'd done those things when I was younger. Um,
Yeah, that's it.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I was going to say some bits which I've done around the tax year. One thing for the first time actually. So I've done like a bed and ISA, and so probably up to a couple of years ago, I hadn't really crossed my. I knew it was a thing, but I hadn't really looked at it in much detail. But what that is a kind of where you've used up your um, where you want to use up your ISA allowance, and you've got money that's sat outside an ISA. So this is in my case in the last tax year. So I'd filled my ISA allowance, and then I still was contributing and investing, but it sat in a general investment account. So I still had like the same investments and the same funds. They were just sat outside the tax wrapper. And so what you can do at so when the new tax year came around, in theory, you can sell down all of the things in your general account and then move them across into your ISA, and that incurs fees on the selling and incurs fees on the buying. But often platform providers, so I use Interactive Investor, and you then do a bed and ISA transaction specific through them, and they will sell your investments. And then I think it's those that you don't get any there's no commission on the sales, but they then buy them back. Essentially, it all happens simultaneously, like the sale and the purchase, and then it just clears after. It takes a few days for it to clear, but then you only pay fees on the purchase again. And I guess the main benefit being in one lump, all I had to do is just tell it which investments I wanted to move and how much of them, and then it does it all automatically for me. And then kind of right at the start of the tax year, I've got money then starting to grow and compound within that tax-free wrapper. So for me, it was a pretty seamless, a pretty seamless exercise. And then what that means now for me practically is I will then just continue investing, but I will put it into my ISA up to the point at which I fill up my ISA, and then anything that overflows will go into a general account, and then I'll do the same again. You can be liable to pay capital gains tax on those, but because I'd only had them in there for like a year, not even 6 months, I didn't have any I didn't have enough to breach my capital gains allowance.
No, it makes sense. And the thinking here then is it's additional cash, isn't it, that you want invested? So your ISA's already full from last year.
Mm-hmm.
So you're storing this additional cash, exposing it to the market for growth.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, the growth there will cover any of the transaction fees that you mentioned. And then you can put a meaningful lump into your stocks and shares ISA to protect it from tax on April 6th or 7th.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so you're just sheltering it from tax, right?
You're sheltering it, yeah, and it just does it. It's like doing it in one lump in a kind of, and it's done as I think I had like 5 funds within my general account that I've transferred. So there are 5 transactions underneath it, but I haven't had to do those manually. I've just told Interactive Investor, do a bed and ISA for these transactions. And so it does all that in the background. And then it takes a few days.
Takes the decision out of your head.
Yeah, so it does all yeah, exactly. So it then just will go and sell the funds and then buy them back, but just within the wrapper. So I found it quite useful.
So then, you don't have a pot of money, and then your brain's like, "Ooh, I wonder what I could buy with that."
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like a like for like,
because it's then
you're just moving the wrapper. Yeah. You're putting it inside the tax-free box, basically.
Yeah, and it can grow year on year tax-free.
That's it. Yeah. So it's just doing it in a simplified way. But if you had, I don't know, 20 investments and different shares and all sorts, there's quite a lot of, you can end up paying quite a lot of fees doing it individual, like selling everything and then moving the cash and then rebuying it. So yeah, it just, and also that point on, you suddenly got the cash in your account and you've sold it. And also it takes the market timing bit out of it as well, because it could be, well, the price could have plummeted or it could have increased loads and you second guess yourself. Whereas I think it just, you buy and sell and it's done and they sort it all out in the background.
Yeah, it gives you no space for that, does it? It's
exactly.
Very little time out of the market, if any at all. And it doesn't give the devil on your shoulder, your bit of your brain where it's like, oh, actually, look at all this money. We could buy things with this now.
Yeah, that's right. So far, it's been a pretty seamless experience. And then, yeah, one other thing I'd have done is so I still try and keep an eye out for the bank account switches. So I have a bank account which I keep as a separate account purely that I use to switch banks with, and I've been quite successful. I've probably now done I've got over £1,000 worth of cash for doing the switches over the last couple of years. But the one I was most recently doing was the Co-op bank switch. So that's actually, so you've got to pay in. The rules around that is you've got to be a new customer. So I switched from I had NatWest before, so I switched to them as a new customer. You got to pay in £1,000 in the month that you switch, and have 2 direct debits, and then use your card 10 times. and then you get £100 back. And then that offer still stands for the next 3 months, but then you get £25 back. But what I've done with that, so literally the £1,000 I got paid on payday, I put £1,000 in, took it straight back out within about an hour, and that classified as £1,000. And then I just went to pay like my normal bills and stuff that I normally do. I have 2 direct debits, which are for charity. So they're like £2 each, which I've been paying, which I just have standing orders for them, which kind of a standing items, which I just keep every month. And then the 10 transactions. So I was like just took the tube a few times at work. I bought some like a bag of nuts, which I used to snack on, which I kind of do anyway. Like a bit of deodorant from the local Aldi near where I work. So they're like quite small transactions for things I'm buying anyway. And then I got my £100 a couple of weeks ago, which I've now put into my savings account, ready for my sabbatical to save up for that. So they were my 2 big things.
Yeah, so nothing abnormal for you. Just some smart kind of, I guess, movements with bank switching and making sure you've read and you adhere to those particular set of rules. I guess they want you to just use their account, and
Yeah,
once you start using it, you're just like, it's hassle to switch.
that's right.
So you'll be like, well, I'll just stay with it because it seems to work, right?
Yeah, because I think most people still are with their bank account that they signed up for at university. There's like an overwhelming percentage of people that just have never changed their bank account because it's like, well, when I was at uni, they gave me.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was one of them until I switched.
Yeah. And and now that because the current account switch service is so good, it makes it it's seamless. And that I kind of just have like a low risk account that I just keep. And it's got 2 direct debits in there for like £4 a month. And yeah, but the banks are definitely getting tighter because they used to have clauses that you couldn't have been a customer for the last like 18 or 24 months, that kind of timeline. But now a lot of them are just saying if you've ever had an account with us, you're not eligible. So they're definitely getting tighter.
So if a co-op one comes around in 2 years' time, like you're going to get screened out.
Potentially, yeah. So but it's definitely worth. It's easy money, and the applications literally take 10, 15 minutes. And yeah, it was £100 that I wouldn't have had otherwise for basically buying things I was going to do anyway.
Yeah, 10 minutes for an application. I mean, say it takes you twice as long to do the things, etc. That's what, £300 an hour?
Yeah.
If it takes you 20 minutes, £600 an hour. If it takes you 10 minutes.
Exactly.
Oh, that's very good.
And the only thing I'm doing is just not is tapping a different card at the supermarket or on the tube.
Yeah, not a huge hardship, is it? It's not massive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whilst you were saying that about the kind of the £100 thing, I've in the kind of time that we've had off in between pods, I've saved myself somewhere between £100 and £180, which I'll just mention quickly. So I've got a little garden here, and I've a really old Honda mower. It's a push along. It's not a ride on thing. It's not petrol engine, push it, etc. And the deck of it is made of steel, so it's rusted pretty badly. And I looked. It's getting to the point where it's going to start developing like big holes, and I wanted to try and save it before that happens because a new petrol-powered Honda mower is expensive, like £400 ish. I mean, other mowers are available, etc. But I like the one that I have. So I was like, actually, how hard can this be to fix? Like, what do I need to do to kind of create or fix the kind of the rust issue and give it a bit more longevity? And I watched a YouTube video of a guy just removing some of the rust with a drill and a wire kind of brush thing, and then he sprayed.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so I bought these bits of kit, and it cost me £27 or something for these bits. I got a drill already, so I didn't have to buy that. So I bought a wire wheel, and I bought some rust converter, and I bought some underseal for it. And I spent probably an hour buzzing like grass, bits of rust, so much rust come off this underneath thing. I'm surprised there's any deck left. Painted on the converter, waited an hour, painted another layer of this converting stuff on, left it 2 days, and I came back to just shiny metal where there was rust there before, and then I'd covered it with this not sticky. It's kind of like underseal you get to protect your car from rust. So it's like a protective barrier, and it's worked really well. So, and I've got the tools left, and I've got the other things left. So I've been rust converting other things, kind of old tools and stuff in the shed, and it's worked really, really well. And I'm actually quite normally I wouldn't old version of me wouldn't bother with that. I'd just be like, I'll just get a new mower. But this mower used to belong to my mum, and that used to belong to my grandfather before she gave it to me. So I kind of want to keep it as long as I can. And I didn't want to have to buy a new deck for like £180 and then have to take the axles off and the engine off and put it onto a new thing. I might do that in the future, but as a relatively quick, inexpensive fix, and it looks brilliant now, to be honest with you. I'm very happy with it, but I just hope it lasts maybe another, 2, 3, 4 years. If I get 5 out of it, I'll be very happy.
Yeah, that's really nice, especially because it's a bit of an heirloom as well.
Yeah, so originally it belonged to my granddad, and then given to my mum, used for years and years and years. I don't know how many miles of this kind of mower has on it, how many blades of grass it's cut, millions. But I really like it. It's old and it's ratty, but it never fails me. And I do other maintenance, spark plugs, oil, etc. And just part of me just wants to keep it going. So we'll come back in 2 years and I'll be like, I had to buy a new deck for me mower. But who knows?
But even though so, I guess you've learned a skill as well in that.
Definitely, and I like
time. So
I suppose my job and your job is very much brain focused, and I just think all day.
Yeah.
So doing something tactile with your hands was actually really nice, and you can kind of sit and look at it at the end and be like, actually, you did that with your own hands, and you can learn these manual kind of tasks and things. I was really proud of myself actually for doing it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great win. Good lesson.
Yeah. So, next time, and we'll see if it needs anything more, but I'll just continue to use it kind of as we go. Have you got anything else you'd like to mention for just around kind of tax year? Anything else monetary wise?
No, I don't think so. I think just let's say just for listeners, really, I use it as a kind of line in the sand and a good check just around my finances and anything that needs a bit of a spring clean. I always think it's quite a good, especially if you've got allowances still left over, like ISA allowance that you could use in the run up to the end of the kind of previous tax year, making sure that you've kind of use up those. Similar if you've got spouse, making sure that they can use it. You might potentially be able to give them some money to put into their ISAs. Similar if you have children, using up junior ISAs. There's a really generous allowance for kids, like £9,000 a year that you can put into a junior ISA. Pensions, there's lots of room in the tax bands. Actually, if you start looking at yourself as a couple, and if you have children, using their allowances. So always a good time to take stock and make sure you take some action if needed.
No, it's a good point actually. And just thinking about that, if you have a couple and 2 kids or something, that's £58,000 worth of cash you can shield from tax, two adult ISAs and 2 junior ISAs.
Yeah.
I'm not even thinking about pensions.
Yeah, that's right.
Long term either. A spare 58 grand in cash is a lot of money, a lot to have spare. So if you do have that spare and you're like, well, of course I do that, then absolutely well done to you. I told you earlier, I put 8 grand in my ISA last year, just the other 50 left, which I'll probably never make doing nursing. But it's just, I think, be smart with the money you have. You work really hard for it, so keep as much of it as you can. I think is the ultimate message. Shield as much of it for your future and shield as much of it from tax. Like if you're getting to those levels,
Yeah.
you're paying enough income tax anyway. You don't want to be paying it on anything else.
And one thing on those, I often like hear from people about, like what's this, like they want schemes to make money quick or dodge tax or do all this stuff. But actually, there's quite good allowances there already, and unless you're really earning a lot, like over a couple of 100,000 kind of level, like there's some really generous allowances, especially when you consider spouse and if you have children using their allowances as well, plus pension. There's a lot there. If you compare the UK, like ISA, to I think in America they have Roth IRA. I think our allowance is obviously £20,000. I think theirs is, I think it's about $6,000 a year. So it's still a very, like, it's generous enough, but it's nowhere near what you have in the UK when you think, what, 20 grand is probably $25,000, something like that. So it's almost like four times as much. So it's really generous and yeah, valuable to if you can use them. So yeah, sometimes underestimated are those and the ISAs.
Yeah, it's the simple stuff done.
Yeah, the simple stuff done well.
Yeah, it's like the simple bit done really well and just done consistently. Like, I mean, I've been investing now, what, six years? It'll be, since December 2019. So December this year will be 7 years. And I'm approaching like a chunky milestone in terms of like general net worth. And if you'd said to me like 6-7 years ago, like, Alex, you'll be in this position at this point, all you need to do is put some money in a stocks and shares ISA every year, I would and pay into your workplace pensions and make sure your employer pays in as well. I'd be like, no way, that number's too large. Like, what are you trying to do? I just wouldn't understand it. But actually, I've just followed that guidance that I've learned, and it's treated me really well.
Yes,
and I don't earn massive money. You can see what I make by any kind of nursing pay banding online. So I'm not one of the people earning 250 grand a year, and you're like, well, yeah, you have that because you earn a ridiculous salary. It's just simple monthly contributions maintained for 6 and a bit years.
Yeah, and it only gets more powerful and only grows more. But I think that consistency is the key, and it's just discipline, and and it works. But I think that's the thing of it. Nobody wants to get rich slowly, do they? So that's why it's kind of everyone's.
No,
no. That's why people want the hot stock, or they want the crypto coin or NFT or whatever. Yeah, exactly. And
that's it.
Compounding away at 6, 7, 8% a year really starts to add up, but just a bit later on.
Yeah, and what one is almost guaranteed is slow building of wealth, isn't it? The one that's not guaranteed is just the coin flip, and then all of a sudden you're super rich, or the gamble, or the potentially the crypto buying in when it's pence or whatever. But I think
the death or glory stocks, as I think they call them.
Yeah, that's it. Like buying penny stocks and be like, well, this is going to 100x, or like, well, probably not, but you never know.
Yeah,
you never know. It just pings the dopamine bit in your reward pathway. Like your basal ganglia. Yeah. Okay, Alex, I'm going to hit you with a
reasonable or ridiculous.
Which is slightly related to today. So originally we record at 6 p.m. And I finished work at kind of 5:20 something or whatever, and I was like, right, I'll do a quick shave because I've got to go into the work tomorrow. And I've got a double-edged razor and just some basic shaving cream or whatever. Normally I just whip it with a brush, like in a tub, but I didn't have time for that, so I used one out of a packet, which is horrendously expensive in comparison. And I did that, and I was getting really close to 6, and my wife was like, it's 5:57. You should be where you said you were going to be at 6, because you're usually never late. And I just nicked myself on my chin, and it bled for a little bit. And then you sent me a message to say, like, can we do 6:15? And I was like, yeah, cool. That's actually even better. So, well, I got here at like 10 past, also. And I just looked at, those shavers that you have that you just push against your skin and it just buzzes all your hair off. It's not wet. It's like a dry
Oh, like the electric
thing. And they've got like an electric face thing shaver. Did a quick bit of research. Like I've had some in the past, but I was like, and I Googled the best dry electric face shaver. And this like Philips thing turns up. So my question to you in terms of reasonable or ridiculous, I found one, and admittedly I did search by most expensive, but it's for a face shaving thing with a trimmer attachment. It's £559. It says it's waterproof, shockproof, etc. La da da. Comes with a fancy looking stand for charging. It's got a fancy battery in it, whatever. But do you think that's reasonable or ridiculous? Or
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, do you have one? Are you just like, I use it every day? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because I'm probably like most guys have tried both, and
Yeah.
like my dad has only ever used an electric razor and swears by them, like the dry one, like yours describing. But I've tried both. I previously bought an expensive electric one to the tune of probably about £80, and this was going on like 10 years ago. And I did not get on with it at all. And I much prefer the wet shave. And I had since invested in some nice kind of shaving cream and a little brush and stuff. So it kind of feel like I'm in an 18th kind of 1800s kind of barber on Bond Street kind of thing. But I'd find it hard to, I think, going to the question of is it reasonable or ridiculous? For me, I don't think of like a £550 razor would be like 5 times better than a £100 razor, like the shaver, based off my experience with them. So I think it sounds a bit steep.
Yes, same. I think it sounds very steep. It does come with an app though, so I suppose if that's your bag, you can I don't know, time your shaving, I suppose, whatever. But for me, I mean, you can buy a bag of like, so I've got a double-edged razor thing. The one with like two blades, like it's got one blade but both sides of it.
Yeah.
You can buy like a little box of those. They're like £2. They're like super cheap for like 10 razors. You can buy I've got a circular like shaving soap and a brush, and I think I spent about £50 all in total. Like, firstly, buying all of this stuff, and I'm still using the same brush, the same razor. I've gone through 2 little boxes of razors. I'm on my 3rd one, so I've used about 23, 24 of the blades. The brush is the same. The soap or like the shaving cream is the same, and that's it. And I can't see this thing being 10 times as good.
Yeah.
Maybe it won't cut you, but maybe that's a technique thing. That's a me thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I find that hard to justify, I think. And I think also,
same.
You don't need an app for a shaver. I don't get why you have that.
No.
That seems a little bit like something's been over-engineered to help justify the price. Yeah, so I would say, ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, very, very possibly. I mean, to give it its due, it's got some kind of attachment thing with a dial. It's got a fancy looking stand and a little, like a carrying case and stuff. But when I saw it, I was thinking when I was scrolling down this website, I was like, well, I don't know, that might be £100, £120, something like that. 560.
Yeah.
No, that's a hard pass from me. That.
Yes, no, I would agree. And I feel I've got some
can't be doing it.
Yeah, some experience to help back that up as well. But yeah, definitely a no.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much money Philips make every year. Probably more than us.
Yeah, probably just about.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, I'll do a quick summary, and then we'll go from next. We're going kind of 40 minutes or so. So this has been episode 89. We've talked about so a bed and ISA, so using your general investment account to store some extra cash, get some growth over the year, and then immediately swapping it into an ISA. Main reason for that is to shelter it from tax, and usually it can be done all automated by whichever investment platform is your chosen one. I mean, Alex uses Interactive Investor, but other ones are available. Do your own research, etc. He's also made £100 from a bank switch, and I've managed to put £8,000 in my ISA for last year. Alex, I assume you did before 20, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah, cool. And I've transferred an old pension because I was paying an annual fee on it, and now I'm not, so I'm paying a lot less of an annual fee. I mean, it's not going to make a world-changing difference. I'm not going to be able to buy this Philips Razor out of the savings that I'm going to make, but over a couple of years, it's going to make a meaningful difference to me. I've also been able to fix my mower, which I'm very happy about. It's got sentimental value, and hopefully it will last a couple of extra years. And we both think £559 for a Philips electric shaver is expensive, or a bit ridiculous, to be honest. That said, if you do own said Philips Razor, which is the i9000 Prestige, these numbers get longer and longer, don't they? They start at like 2000 and they just get more and more.
That's it.
So if you own one and you think it's brilliant, do email us and tell me. If you are head of product development for Philips and you're listening to this and you want to send us one each free of charge, also do email us.
That might influence our assessment of whether it's reasonable or ridiculous. Yeah,
it could. Next week we'll be like, we were wrong. It's brilliant.
Actually, yeah, retract that.
Yeah, because we just didn't have to pay for it. That'll be a different story. So we've talked a lot about kind of solid financial decisions, using the end of the tax year as a bit of a spring clean. Think about where you've been, where you want to get to, and what small tweaks you can do to help nudge you in the right direction. So no massive changes, just making sure that everything's on the right track and you're going in the right general direction. We also talked a bit about balance and using some of the money to enhance your life, because you don't work super hard for nothing.
That was a lovely summary.
Cool. Thanks very much. So thank you for listening. Alex, thank you for your time. And if you got any questions, just send us an email. It's nursingyourwaytowealth@gmail.com. And we'll see you next week for episode 90.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Alex. And thanks everyone for listening, and see you next week.
None of what we discuss on the show is to be considered financial or health advice, and we recommend you always do your own research or consult an independent financial advisor or a doctor when making your financial or health decisions.